Hello, you're watching Hallam Cricket Club TV, broadcasting on YouTube and the Mogulus Network. Thank you for tuning in. We're going to start this programme by talking to the first team captain. Here's TJ. So TJ, end of April, 2 games played, 2 games won. You can't start any better than that, can you?
No, not at all. It's not been a bad start to the season at all. We've not performed brilliantly, but the great thing is that we've won. And to be honest, having kept the same side, all 10 players have performed well in at least one of the game. The exception being me, sadly, having started with a duck and won. So, but we've all contributed, which is I think the greatest thing, because after the 2 pre-season friendlies, there's a lot of players that didn't really perform and let the side down in the friendly. So that was good to see.
Now, you recruited an overseas player this year. It's Graham, isn't it? Tell us a bit about Graham.
Well, obviously after 2 years of Wayne, who did fantastic for us, he called it a day, and Neil managed to find Graham from South Africa. He's come over from Pretoria. Has played for arguably one of the best club sides in South Africa. I think 2 years ago his club won the equivalent of the national knockout in South Africa. He plays for some current Test players over there, so he's got a good pedigree. In the pre-season friendlies, he eased into it, and we thought, having seen him in nets in the pre-season friendly, we thought, we've got something a little bit useful here. We didn't quite realise how useful he was until the first league game against Tick Hill, where he completely blew away their order, taking 7 for 29. So really excited about it, and at the same time he made a swashbuckling 68, including taking I think 28 off 1 over off Tick Hill's off spinner, which was very entertaining. So yeah, very very excited about him.
Now, in the last couple of years, Hallam have done really, really well. They've been leading the table, but then there's that group of clubs like Treaton, Elsecar, Wickersley that just in the end overtake Hallam, and we have to sort of accept a place down the table. Is it going to be any different this year?
One word answer. I hope so. No, it is. That's the 3 word, isn't it? I hope so. No, I hope so. The challenge for any side coming into the Premier League is to break into that top 4. Sadly, 3 of those clubs at least fork out a fair amount of money, and sometimes you can't compete with that. But we've given them some good games. The only club that we're yet to beat in the 2 years that we've been in the Premier League is Elsecar. And I think on paper they certainly look like potential champions again. Although Treaton have recruited well, they have started the season very strongly. They've got a good overseas, and obviously Steve Foster is scoring runs and taking wickets for fun in his 48th year or whatever it is. But if we can hang on to 5th, I think that would be an achievement, because Wath, who finished 6th last year, have also recruited heavily. A big signing over the summer was Lesroy Weeks, who's been around the league for a long time, and they'll certainly be, having paid the money, looking to at least sustain a title challenge. So if we can finish 5th again, it'll be good. Anything above will be brilliant, and we've got a talented bunch of lads. What might hold us back is an over-reliance sometimes on Jim Tasker and Humphrey Emery, and there are quite a few of us, myself included, that sort of need to pull the finger out and start contributing more heavily.
And it's an exciting time to actually be at the club, but with the new ground on the horizon, isn't it?
Absolutely. Hopefully what won't happen is we move away from this ground, because the new ground becomes a really good deck and it's flat. But yeah, it's a great time to be around. We vibrant youth section. We came down here for a net yesterday and got taken over by the under 13 team, which had about 40 kids here. I don't know how they're all going to play, but it is good times. I mean, we've just recently, I think 2 weeks ago, we received a grant off the ECB for £43,000, which we have to match, and I think we're sort of about 20% into raising the 50 grand that we need to, which has been fantastic, and that's been gift aid donations and members being generous enough to donate money to this second ground. But there's a lot of people working very hard at the club to push it forward. So yes, it is an exciting time, and hopefully this current group of players in the first 11 can keep us in the Premier League long enough for some of the incredibly talented juniors we've got at this club to break into the first team and play at that high level. Already last Saturday, Will Hale, who's 14, scored his maiden ton for the 4th team and batted by all accounts supremely well. There's also people like Joe Tetley, who's a fantastic keeper. Joe Marvin's looking like a good bet. And there's still some very young players in the 2nd team. The 2 Smedleys coming through who look very good prospects. So, yeah, it is an exciting time to be at the club. And I think, to be perfectly honest, I'm quite excited about being the man sort of at the top of it, the 1st team captain.
So TJ with plenty to say about the coming season. Now let's find out what's in store with 2nd. Here's Iaim Snelling. So Ian, it's late April, 1 game played. How's it gone so far this season?
Well, we had a fantastic game on Saturday. In every respect, the weather was lovely, nice opposition, and we won a really close game which could have gone either way, so it was fantastic.
So who were you up against, and who played really well?
Well, we played Freshfield. We're in a new division this year, so we don't know these teams. We went up last year, so we were playing Freshfield. We batted first, and we were about 20 odd for 2, and in the 2nd team that normally means at some stage you'll be 50 odd for 5. But Max Hill and James Chetwood, they put on about 107, something like that, and both batted really, really well, and we finished with about 239, I think it was, after our overs. And then we batted, and they've got some really, really good batters, and luckily 1 or 2 of the good batters got themselves out. We went through the middle order a bit, and so they were about 120 for 8, something like that. We thought we were going to win easily, and then the last 2, or the 9th wicket put on something like 60 or 70, and it was really close at the end, but we didn't panic. We got the last 2 wickets, and it was great.
So you mentioned you're back in the in Division 3 for the first time in a while.
Yeah.
What do you reckon your prospects are for the season?
Well, I don't see why we shouldn't aim to do very well and get promoted again. The last time we were in this division, we lost 4 games by 1 wicket. So although we went down, we could quite easily have done very well. The team we've got from last year, which won the division quite easily, is more or less all available, and we've got a couple of new players who perhaps will play first team cricket and are likely to be available more for the 2nd. So this week we had Chris Hughes and James Chetwood. They both played very well. If they get selected for the 1st, then we hope we'd get other players from the 1st team available. So I don't see why we shouldn't do really well. And
you mentioned a few players there. Any young players coming through that we should be watching out for this season?
Yeah, there's in our team we've got a sort of group of 40-somethings, and then most of the rest are under 20, a couple in the 20s. But we've got Jack Unwin. He wasn't playing on Saturday, but he's a prospect. Chris Hughes, obviously, he's going to bowl a lot in the 2nds. I hope this year and get a lot of wickets. We've got both the Smedleys. James played this week. Richard wasn't available. We've got some other players who didn't make the team on Saturday, but may well come in. Jack Snelling, my son, and Zohab Hassan, who scored 49, I think, for the 3rd. So we've got some very strong juniors as well as some more experienced players, and I think there will be competition for places, and that will help.
Well, if you're watching this on the Mogulus Network, stay tuned. We'll play it all again. If not, goodbye.